You have been warned. Someone in your family who has already passed away want to tell you something, so they can rest. Open quickly. My beloved child. There is a reason your heartbeat just shifted. There is a reason your eyes are locked on this very frame, as if something inside you already knows this message did not reach you by accident. Listen closely, because someone who once held you, protected you, and watched you grow has been waiting, quietly, patiently, painfully, for the one moment when you would be ready to hear what they could not say before they left. Tonight, the air around you feels heavier because a truth is approaching, one you have avoided, one you sensed but never understood. The world around you may look ordinary, but beneath it, something is moving, something reaching, something trying to speak your name so they can finally rest. And before you take another breath, remember this: something huge is waiting for you. A revelation that was never meant to be buried is beginning to rise, and whether you believe in signs or not, this one has found you. Another dawnless silence wrapped around your life long before this video ever started, and if you look back carefully, you'll notice the hints they tried to leave, tiny shifts in your dreams, the sudden memories that return at the strangest times, the cold air that brushes your skin even when the windows are closed. These moments were not random. They were calls. Echoes. Attempts from the unseen to reach your trembling awareness. They watched you break in places you never showed anyone. They watched you pretend to be strong when your soul was screaming for help. And they have waited for the one moment when your heart would be quiet enough to finally feel them again. Their message did not cross realms to scare you, it came because there is something they couldn't leave behind until you heard it. Something you were never told. Something they didn't get the chance to explain. You may not know it yet, but the reason your chest feels tight right now is because this truth belongs to you. Now lean in, because what comes next is not a story, it is a pull, a summons from a bond that refuses to die. They want you to understand the weight they carried for years, the regret they couldn't release, the unfinished words that lingered between you like shadows waiting for closure. You have lived with questions you never dared to ask, emotions you swallowed because they were too heavy to speak, and memories that felt incomplete, as if something vital was missing. They felt that too. They felt the distance. The guilt. The love they couldn't show the way you needed. And now, before they can rest, they need you to hear what they've been trying to say ever since the day they slipped beyond your reach. This is the moment where the veil thins, where the world you see cracks open just enough for their voice to slip through. And as this unfolds, keep your heart steady, because the message they bring is about to shift everything you thought you knew. A different hush settles around you now, deeper than before, almost as if the room itself is listening with you. My beloved child, there is something they tried to whisper into your life long before today, something you kept feeling but never understood. The person who has already crossed beyond the veil has been standing at the edges of your quietest moments, watching the way you hold pain like a secret drawer no one is allowed to open. They saw every night you stayed awake, every memory you replayed, every question that scraped your heart because no one was left to answer it. And they want you to know they weren't blind to your suffering. Even after leaving the world, they carried the weight of what they couldn't fix, the words they never said, the comfort they couldn't give you when you needed it the most. Their presence surrounds you now because this is the first time your spirit is strong enough to receive what they have been aching to say. And as this truth unfolds, just stay here with me, because the thread connecting you to them is pulling tighter, guiding you toward a revelation you were destined to hear. And remember, something huge is waiting for you. There is a moment, right before a life changes, when the air becomes still, when the mind becomes sharper, when the heart becomes heavy because it senses something powerful approaching. That moment is happening to you now. They want you to understand why certain memories never leave you, why their absence feels louder on some days than others, why their name still echoes inside you even when you try to move forward. They have been trying to tell you that the mistakes you think were yours, were never meant to be carried alone. The blame you placed on yourself was never your burden to hold. The silence you mistook for abandonment was never meant as a punishment. They watched you grow into someone stronger than they ever had the chance to become, and seeing you fight alone tore through the peace they were supposed to rest in. That is why their spirit keeps reaching you in dreams, in sudden sense, in random memories, because they can't rest until you know the truth they couldn't express when they were alive. And while you listen, feel how the atmosphere shifts around your chest. That's them leaning closer, hoping you won't turn away this time. Between these words, between the breaths you take, their message is beginning to form. Before this part ends, there is one more thing they need you to feel, not just hear. They want you to hold this moment carefully, because it carries something rare, a voice that traveled through distance, time, and silence just to reach you. They want you to notice how your pulse changed, how your focus sharpened, how nothing around you feels the same anymore. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't a random video you opened by chance. This is a crossing point, a moment where two worlds lean close enough for truth to pass through. They want their message to move through you, to live in you, to become the release they've waited for. And as this story unfolds further, they want you to let your heart stay open, your mind stay present, and your spirit stay awake, because the next part will uncover what they have been trying to reveal for years. And if anyone else needs to hear a story like this, let them be drawn toward it naturally, the way you were, without forcing or calling them. The next message they want to deliver is even heavier, and it's coming. My beloved child. There is a reason your chest feels heavier right now, a reason your eyes refuse to look away, as if something inside you knows this part carries the weight you were never ready to face. The one who crossed over, someone whose absence still stains your heart, has reached a point where silence is no longer enough. They have watched the way you walk through life with unspoken scars, the way you hide certain memories behind strength, the way you pretend you're okay even when your soul is shivering. They saw every moment you were betrayed, misunderstood, or left alone in rooms filled with people who never truly saw you. And each time, their spirit leaned closer, whispering for you to hold on, whispering for you to trust that the story wasn't over. They have come forward now because the truth they carried in their final moments has begun pressing against the barrier between worlds, demanding to be heard. And deep down, you feel it, the pull, the shift, the presence that wraps around you like a familiar warmth you didn't know you were missing. This is not imagination. This is not coincidence. This is connection, rising from a realm where love outlives breath. Another wave of silence surrounds you, the kind that comes before something life-altering. They want you to understand why they have returned, why their presence keeps brushing against your life in unexpected ways. They left with regrets, deep ones, the kind that sink into the soul and refuse to fade. They regret the moments they misunderstood you. They regret the times they were too tired, too distracted, too broken to see how much you needed them. They regret holding back words they should have spoken, emotions they should have shown, protection they should have offered. They carried these regrets with them, heavier than any wound, heavier than any goodbye. And when they crossed into the other realm, they realized something: your heart was still tied to theirs, still beating with pieces of them, still searching for closure they never gave. That is why they haven't rested. That is why they haven't left your side. That is why they brought you here, because this moment is the doorway, the bridge between everything they couldn't say and everything you need to hear. They want you to know that none of the pain in your bond was your fault. None of the misunderstandings were meant to scar you. And most of all, they never stopped loving you, not for a second, not for a breath, not even when they slipped away. And now, as this part draws closer to its peak, they're asking you to prepare yourself. What comes next is not softness. It is truth, sharp enough to break the chains you've carried for years. You may feel the air around you thicken, your heartbeat speeding as if your soul already senses the message approaching. They want you to understand that the strange dreams, the sudden memories, the moments where you felt someone near you even when the room was empty, those were them. They stood by you when life tried to crush you. They tried to warn you when someone around you carried hidden intentions. They tried to comfort you when you cried silently at night, believing no one could hear. And even now, they stand closer than your own shadow, waiting for the exact moment when you will be strong enough to receive everything they have been holding back. This is the part where your story begins to shift, where the truth begins to surface, where the message that has crossed through silence finally prepares itself to speak. Stay still, stay here, stay open, because the next part will reveal the secret they have been guarding ever since their final breath. My beloved child. The moment you stepped into this part, the atmosphere around you shifted again, heavier, deeper, almost trembling with the truth that is finally ready to rise. The one who left this world has been waiting for this exact place in the story, because what they are about to reveal is something they carried with them into the afterlife, something they could never say out loud when their heartbeats still touched this earth. They want you to know that in their final moments, when their breath grew thin and their vision blurred, the last image that stayed clear was you. Not the pain, not the confusion, not the weight of their life, just you. They left with your name tucked into the softest place in their memory, still hoping they would find a way to reach you again. Every time you sensed someone near when you were alone, every time you felt a sudden warmth on your shoulder, every time your name echoed in your thoughts without reason, that was them, waiting for the barrier to weaken, waiting for you to grow strong enough to hear the truth without breaking. And now that moment has come. They want you to understand that nothing you blame yourself for belongs to you. They carried their own battles, their own storms, their own shadows that you were never responsible for. Their silence in their final days was not distance, it was fear, fear that you would suffer if they shared how deeply they were fighting inside. They never wanted to be a weight on your heart, even if it meant leaving you with questions that haunted you in the years that followed. A strange clarity settles into the space around you now, almost as if the unseen world pauses, waiting for the next words to fall into place. They want you to know that the unfinished conversations, the sudden departure, the emotions you still replay in your head were never signs of failure. Life simply ended before they could explain themselves. They saw the tears you hid from the world. They saw the nights you whispered to the ceiling, asking if they could hear you. They saw how you carried guilt, doubt, and loneliness like it was your responsibility, when it never was. And every time you felt like a part of you was missing, every time you felt like someone was supposed to be there but wasn't, every time you felt an invisible ache pull at your chest, that was the echo of them trying to speak. They want you to know that they never stopped watching over you. They stood beside you during the days you thought you were alone. They saw who hurt you, who lied to you, who took advantage of your kindness. They watched you survive what would have broken many others. And if you ever felt protected in a moment where danger should have reached you, that was them. They moved what they could from the other side, guiding your steps, shielding your path, placing signs in front of you that you sometimes misunderstood but always followed. They want you to understand that your life didn't fall apart, it was being rearranged, shaped, prepared for something greater than the pain you endured. Now comes the part they have been holding back the longest. What they want to tell you next is something they carried into the next realm, something they couldn't release until you were finally ready to receive it. They want you to stop punishing yourself for the things you didn't know back then. They want you to forgive yourself for the distance that grew between you, because that distance was never your fault. They want you to stop believing that their departure left you incomplete, because a part of them still lives inside you, guiding your intuition, shaping your instincts, strengthening your heart in ways you don't even see. They want you to understand that their soul has been waiting for this release, waiting for you to hear these words so they can finally move into rest without carrying regret on their back. But before they step into the peace they have longed for, there is still one final truth they need to give you, one that will change the way you see everything that happened, one that will explain why their spirit has been unable to leave your side until now. My beloved child. The moment you opened this part, their presence pressed closer, almost as if the unseen world itself leaned forward, holding its breath for what comes next. They have carried this truth through realms, through silence, through years of watching you grow stronger and softer all at once. And now, finally, they are ready to say what they never had the courage, the time, or the strength to say when they were alive. They want you to know that the reason they could not rest was you. Not because you were a burden, not because you did something wrong, but because their love for you was too deep, too unfinished, too tightly woven into every part of their being. They left this world with a heart full of words meant for you, words of protection, words of pride, words of apology, words they didn't know how to express while breath still filled their chest. In their final moments, they realized how much they wanted to stay, how much they wished for one more day, one more conversation, one more chance to look at you and tell you everything they hid behind silence. And when they crossed over, that longing remained like a flame that refused to dim. They have been reaching, waiting, searching for a moment where your spirit would be steady enough to receive what they held inside. That moment is now. The message they carry is heavier than regret and deeper than memory. They want you to understand something you were never told, something that would have changed the way you saw your entire past. They want you to know that they were proud of you long before you ever learned how to be proud of yourself. Every step you took, every battle you fought, every choice you made that pushed you forward, they saw all of it, even the moments you thought no one was watching. They saw the way your heart grew from the cracks life carved into you. They saw the way you protected others even when no one protected you. They saw the kindness you held despite betrayal, the hope you carried despite loss, the courage you found even when fear threatened to swallow you whole. They watched you survive storms that would have shattered them. And every time you doubted your worth, every time you questioned whether you were enough, they wanted to scream from the other side that you were more than enough. You were the reason they believed in something beyond their own mistakes. They want you to stop shrinking yourself to match the smallness of people who never understood you. They want you to stop punishing yourself for choices you made while trying to protect your heart. They want you to stop believing that you were hard to love, because the truth is, loving you was the easiest thing they ever did. And now, the secret they have been guarding, the truth that kept them tied between worlds, is unfolding. They want you to know that before they passed, they sensed something about your future, something they didn't know how to explain, something that scared them and filled them with hope at the same time. They saw the path you were meant to walk, the destiny that was shaping itself around you, the energy that would pull you through darkness into a life bigger than anything you've imagined. They saw challenges coming your way, challenges they couldn't warn you about while alive, challenges meant to transform you rather than break you. And the hardest part, the part that tore at their soul, was realizing they would not be there physically to guide you through it. That is why they've stayed. That is why their spirit refused to rest. They needed to make sure you understood that you are not walking blindly. You are not walking alone. You are moving inside a story that was always meant to elevate you, shape you, protect you. They want you to know that the heaviness you feel right now is not fear, it is recognition. Your soul knows this truth. Your heart knows this voice. Your spirit knows this connection. And as the next part approaches, the message you've been waiting for, the one they crossed realms to deliver, will finally rise to the surface. My beloved child. The air around you has shifted again, deeper and almost trembling, as if every silent corner of your life suddenly knows that what comes next is the truth you have been unknowingly preparing for. The one who left this world, the one whose absence shaped you more than their presence ever had the chance to, has reached the moment they've been waiting for since the day their breath faded. This is the point where the message they carried across realms begins to reveal its core. They want you to know that the invisible weight you've been carrying on your shoulders for years was never yours to hold. They felt it too, the unfinished bond, the words left unsaid, the moments that slipped away too fast. They have been watching the way you walk with quiet strength, carrying pain like it is part of your identity, when in truth, it is only a shadow of what once happened, not a reflection of who you truly are. And now, as their presence leans closer than ever, they want you to breathe differently. They want you to feel something shifting inside your chest. Because the truth they are about to reveal is not meant to haunt you, it's meant to free you. They want you to understand the real reason they couldn't rest. It wasn't just regret. It wasn't just love. It wasn't just unfinished business. It was fear. Not fear of the afterlife, not fear of leaving this world, but fear of leaving you unprotected. They saw something coming in your life long before you ever sensed it. They knew that one day you would stand at a crossroads, unsure of who to trust, unsure of what path to take, unsure of whether the world around you was breaking apart or reshaping itself for your eyes. And because they knew they wouldn't be able to guide you physically, they left behind a promise, one that never reached your ears, one that never found its way into the conversations you wish you had, one that stayed trapped behind the silence of their final days. They promised themselves that if there was any way, any doorway, any sign, any fragile connection, they would come back for one moment, this moment, to tell you what they couldn't before. And now, through the thin space between your world and theirs, they whisper the truth: you were never abandoned. You were never forgotten. You were never walking alone. Every moment you thought no one understood you, they were there. Every night you felt a presence near your bed, they were there. Every time you survived something you shouldn't have, they were there, shifting the world around you in ways you never saw. And now, they want to reveal the part they held closest to their soul, the part they couldn't leave this world without passing on to you. They want you to know that your life is about to change in a way that mirrors the transformation they saw long before you did. A door is opening for you, slowly, quietly, but undeniably. They want you to stop doubting the signs that keep appearing around you. They want you to stop questioning the sudden intuition, the strange dreams, the unexpected moments of clarity that seem to appear out of nowhere. Those are not coincidences. Those are not random thoughts. Those are messages they've been sending, hoping you would eventually recognize the pattern. You are being guided towards something that has been waiting for you since before they left, something powerful enough to shift the path of your entire future. And as you move toward it, they want you to carry one truth above all: they are proud of you, beyond measure, beyond words, beyond worlds. What they're about to tell you next is the final piece of their message, the one that explains everything: their departure, their silence, their presence in your life, and the destiny they saw unfolding around you. My beloved child. The moment you stepped into this part, your spirit felt it, an unspoken shift, a quiet tremor inside your chest, the kind that only happens when a truth finally begins to rise from the place where it has been buried for too long. The one who crossed over, the one whose memory still follows you like a soft shadow, is now closer than they have ever been throughout this entire message. Their presence is not distant anymore. It feels almost warm, almost familiar, almost like the echo of a hand that once held yours. They have waited through silence, through time, through the thin veil between worlds just for this moment, the moment where the truth they've guarded finally gains the strength to reach your heart. And they want you to listen with every part of your being, because what they're about to reveal is something you were never told, something that shaped your life without your awareness, something that explains why their soul refused to rest. They want you to know that before they left this world, there was a moment, a quiet, fragile, heartbreaking moment, where everything inside them paused. Their thoughts softened. Their regrets stopped shouting. And their love for you rose higher than anything they had ever felt. In that moment, they saw a glimpse of your future, a glimpse of the person you would become, a glimpse of the storm you would walk through and the strength you would gather from every wound. But they also saw something else, something they never spoke of because they didn't want to frighten you, something they hoped you would one day be ready to face with courage instead of fear. They saw the loneliness you would carry. They saw the betrayals you would endure. They saw the people who would stand beside you while hiding intentions behind their smiles. And they saw that you would survive it all, not because life was kind, but because you were born with a soul built to rise. They knew you would walk through darkness that felt too heavy for one heart, and that is why they stayed on the other side, refusing to rest, refusing to disappear, refusing to let you walk into your destiny without their unseen guidance. They have been trying to warn you, trying to protect you, trying to whisper into your intuition the way only those who truly love you can. Every sudden feeling that told you not to trust someone, that was them. Every moment you walked away from something that looked good but didn't feel right, that was them. Every time you felt strangely safe in a situation that should have shaken you, that was them. Their spirit has been the shield between you and what was meant to hurt you. Their presence has been the quiet voice guiding you away from danger and toward the path that will lead you into the life you are meant to build. And now, as they prepare to reveal the final truth, they want you to understand this: nothing that happened in your past was random. Nothing that broke you was wasted. Nothing that shaped you was meaningless. Every piece of your story has been guiding you toward something far bigger than the pain you survived. The message they've been trying to deliver, the message that held them from resting, the message their soul carried through silence, is now ready to rise. And in the next part, they will finally reveal what they saw about your future, and why they waited so long to tell you.